So, Huawei just released the FreeBuds 6, and they're playing in the big leagues, and that's the reason we've brought in the AirPods 4 ANC and the Samsung Galaxy Buds 3. But which one's the best?
Namaste, we're DHRME, duo honest reviewers with magical ears. Let's go through the Huawei FreeBuds 6 very quickly, all the pros and the cons, and then we'll see which of these three you should get. Just keep it simple in this video. Hopefully not too much blah blah. So what are the pros of these? First of all, you get them in three colors. You get them in black, white, and purple. All are like very bold looks, right? All are very, we'll talk more about that later.
Yeah.
But the case is slim, it's pocketable, all three are here, but it's got a specific shape, and that's an egg shape. Doesn't matter, pocketable, easy to use. And they're quite comfortable semi-in-ear buds, and that's what all these buds are, which means they don't have silicone tips, they don't plug into your ears, you're aware of your surroundings. That's nice. It's, as we said, it's a unique design. It kind of looks like there was liquid metal coming out of your ears and it kind of solidified on the outside. So it's a very organic shape.
Especially this color.
This color, yeah. Very organic looking shape, like not a very straight line. I kind of dig it, but again, your mileage may vary. And in the box, Huawei is giving you silicone ear sleeves, I guess. They call them tips, but they're more like sleeves that kind of go around it.
Grips or something. Yeah.
Kind of grip onto your ear better. We've had mixed results. We'll talk about that again. So the buds are IP54 rated, decent protection against the elements, and the case is not. So something to keep in mind.
What you also get on these buds is a full set of controls. And in terms of controls, it is tap as well as swipe. So the swiping up and down the stem is for volume control. And the tapping, you can go all the way from a single tap to triple tap to long tap.
All customizable.
Yeah.
And it worked quite well. Like it was very reliable.
Yeah.
So that's nice.
And customizable, like you said, in the app, which you do get an app for. And speaking of that app, so Huawei used to have the AI Life app. They are now moving away from that and going to the Huawei Audio Connect app.
And this is for, of course, if you're not in the US.
Oh, yeah. That's true.
You get the app.
Yeah. But even for Android, you need to, I think, sideload it or not?
Yeah, I think in the US, you can probably sideload the APK or...
Yeah. A couple of extras, multi-point support, staying connected to two devices with a device list in the app. There is a wear sensor, so taking out an earbud or both will automatically pause the audio, and then when you put them back in, they resume. So that's there. You're getting low latency mode for gamers. And you're getting adaptive volume, which is that the buds automatically will increase and reduce volume depending on how loud it is around you. And that's going to be extremely important with these kind of semi-open or semi-in-ear rather earbuds, because it's constantly, the audio is constantly competing with the noise around you. So it doing this is actually a very handy feature for these kinds of buds. And then the battery and charging situation. You get wireless charging on the buds. Typical Huawei, they don't skimp on that.
No.
Apart from that, the advertised battery life is just 4.5 hours with ANC on. Yes, there's ANC. We'll get into that. We did test the battery life. Got 3 hours and 20 minutes. So not all too much. It is definitely on the lower end. But what is interesting though, we were at the briefing from Huawei and they said, we looked at big data and we saw that people don't actually use the buds for that long at a stretch, and they go back into the case. So they basically said we prefer to have lighter buds to, improve the comfort for the users, as opposed to making it heavier and, putting in a lot of battery into the buds. Again,
it's a thing they said.
Yeah.
Right, from big data to big phone calls. Nice segue. Listen, come back.
Popsicle, ice, icicle, testing, 1, 2, 3. 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 Popsicle, ice, icicle, testing, 1, 2, 3.
All right, you came back. Thanks for coming back, first of all, but calls are Huawei level calls. They're The wind performance is incredible. These are like a 9 on 10, guys, and probably the only 1 on 10 I can take away is like in noisy conditions. Sometimes the voice went a bit too bassy, still intelligible, but not perfect. But it was
Still Huawei.
Huawei.
Yeah.
And Fakman controls. You can get a bunch of controls. Volume works on calls. Very happy to hear that. Hear that. See what I did there.
God, he's on a roll.
And then long tap works for ANC, and of course you can also reject.
Yep.
So yeah, and Fakman doesn't just use their finger nowadays, also uses their head, the neck to nod. You can use your head to answer calls or reject calls. That's what I'm trying to say. It's not coming out right.
No.
Okay.
That's kind of a nod to another pair of buds here.
Ooh, you're on a roll now.
Specifically, yeah, maybe. Well, the AirPods have it too. Okay, that was calls, but no buds are perfect. So what are some of the cons of the FreeBuds 6? First off, secureness of fit. And this is not just a con for these buds, but in general with semi-in-ear style buds, especially for me. You have a little bit of a better experience relatively.
My ears are better than yours.
Okay, fine.
If you have worse ears, they don't fit. If you have better ears, they fit.
Yeah, do better than me, guys, in terms of ears.
No, the thing is like this fit is very, very subjective.
Yeah.
For you, like none of these fit, they just fall out. For me, and I've literally seen it. I'm like, I told them it's not true. I said, put it in.
Yeah.
And I saw them falling out right away. I'm like, okay, this is really an issue. With me, all of these fit. I think the Huawei probably fit the best for me out of these. But yeah.
And we are testing out the new watches as well. And so I took this on a run to test out the fitness tracking. And I thought, let me take the buds as well. Mm-hmm. Put them in, got my running music on, went out. And a minute later, the left one already was almost falling. I was like, I can't drop these buds. We still need to test them and everything. Yeah. So I took them out, put them in my pocket, and I was done. And I tried with both the grips, the silicone grips that you get with it. Unfortunately not. Yeah, I mean, ears are shaped different. Left is really bad for me. They immediately fall out. So, yep, that's an issue. Like we said, the design is definitely something to get used to. It's a gaudy, shiny design.
Yeah, it's a statement piece almost.
Yes.
Like it's like nobody's gonna not notice these.
Correct. If you want to get away with being a little bit more under the radar, then I would probably say white because right, it's not as shiny. But there's that. The silicone grip tips that we talked about are extremely thin and extremely hard to put on and extremely hard to take off, and I broke one of them.
For a change, he broke something on the channel.
Yes. Damn it.
It's terrible, man.
Yeah, but now I get why they've included two sizes, or not two sizes, two sets of those, grip tips or whatever. Yeah. Did the grip really grip? I use them, like I said, on my run. It didn't really hold them in place, but I think it's more meant for people who have bigger ears, which it doesn't kind of fill in and just kind of, I don't know, has to stick in there.
True.
Then it works, I guess. Like I said, the ANC is an ANC feature. Nothing to write home about.
It is ANC actually. It's air conditioning noise cancelling, because if you're in a place with some loud air conditioning, it'll probably dull the air conditioning sound. That's it.
Fine.
It's better than the Samsung on this list.
Yeah.
Which is not saying much, but yeah.
Yeah. This guy has something to say about that.
Yes.
But yeah, you get a couple of modes in the app from like, what is it, dynamic, cozy, and general, which is basically like adaptive, low and high. But again, don't buy these for ANC, guys.
Yeah.
Okay.
And like you said, don't buy these for ANC. I think another thing now we can probably compare all three is for sound.
Yeah.
And that gives a better idea of, instead of just saying how this sounds. I think the Huawei is the lowest on bass on this list, even after changing the EQ, even after changing the presets. I could not get enough bass, not to say it's completely absent, but it has more of a clear, open, treble-ish sound, while the treble is not fatiguing either. It's quite nice sounding in that sense, and it's customizable in the app, but as I said, can't push the bass too far. The AirPods has some crazy amounts of bass, just like they have some other crazy things in terms of sound. It also has spatial audio, which is personalized for your ear. And for me, the Samsung is the best sounding.
Okay.
Far and away, the best sounding, the most balanced. It has bass, it has treble. It's not too harsh, it's not fatiguing, that I have sometimes with the AirPods, especially on the S's and that frequency, you know. So the Samsung sounds the best to me. But again, now I'm saying like for this form factor again, all these are like 8, 7, 8, 9. You know, they're not like 5 or 4.
Okay.
only glaring flaw here is the bass is a bit lower on the Huawei, but it sounds good. Still sounds good to me, and customizable. So
Yeah. And all three of them get very loud, right?
all three of them get pretty loud.
Okay.
Yeah. I could not max out the volume on either of any of these three. So.
One thing though, we did mention in the review that the Samsung didn't get very loud.
Yeah, it was loud.
Loud enough.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think we have to come to who are these buds for.
Yeah.
I think we can do that with all three, starting maybe with the Samsung.
Yeah, so just a quick note on the price, right? So the Samsung is $140 right now. The Huawei FreeBuds 6, $160, and the AirPods are $170.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's nicely in the right order here as well on the table, at least for us. First off, let's start with the cheapest, the Samsung Galaxy Buds 3. What do they have going for it? Well, they're Samsung. So,
Ecosystem.
Yeah, the ecosystem thing, right? So you will only get multi-point if you're in the Samsung ecosystem. Otherwise, there's no real multi-point here.
So silly.
Yeah,
So silly.
there's that. But yeah, it is what it is. Then you have IP57 rating, which is the highest. Okay, the others have IP54. Boohoo. It is factually, though, better.
For liquids, yeah.
Yeah.
Which is important.
Battery life is also very strong. We tested it without ANC, though, but we got more than 7 hours.
Yeah. Very good battery.
Very good battery. It is also, in terms of case size and bud size, also one of the bigger ones.
And
So
the most unique thing, it can stand. Can you do that, Curvy boys? I don't think so. Okay, sorry.
you done? And we also said that they have the best controls, right?
I think they have the best controls because you have pinch
Yeah.
and swipe.
Yeah,
And for me, that means I don't need to worry whether I'm wearing gloves or not. And it always works.
for the pinch.
For the pinch.
Yeah,
For the
yeah.
swipe. Yeah.
Correct. Yep, so that's Samsung. Again, we've done a full review on it, so go check it out on the channel. Next up,
Who's
the
the
most expensive.
Who's the AirPods for?
Yeah,
For people who live in Apple's world, basically, like that wall over there.
yeah, yeah.
Not
I was just
you,
looking
of
at.
course. For that wall, I would say great buds if you're in the Apple ecosystem because, let's be honest, on this list, these are the only ones that really have A and C. And the A doesn't mean air conditioning. It's really good. We put it in tier B even.
We actually bothered to tier them because they are really doing ANC.
Yeah, and that you can even compete with some mid-range in-ears, which is incredible. Bass is amazing compared to the rest. Like they do much better bass. And of course, they have the ecosystem lock-in, like we said, connects to all the Apple devices on the fly. Yeah, that's kind of the story about Apple, I guess.
Yeah. And then that leaves us with the Huawei. And so these buds are really for those who are not into any of these ecosystems and want true multi-point because that they have and they deliver on that. The other point is,
Yeah, sound customizability.
Yeah.
I think just like the Samsung, it can also do quite a bit of customization of the sound. Yeah.
yeah, that's it. What are we picking?
What are we picking? What are you picking?
What am I
Show me
picking?
your pick.
All right, I'll show you my pick. You ready? Okay. Yeah, I think that the Huawei are great buds, right? They are comfortable. The calls are good. They're portable. They got all the bells and whistles, all of that. But the biggest issue, and I keep saying this in all the semi-inner videos, is the fit. So for me, there isn't really a clear pick here, except if you put a gun to my head and you're like, I got to choose one, then I'm going for the AirPods. Because just like the wall, I am kind of in a in a bit of an ecosystem with Apple, MacBook, iPhone, etc. So it works well for seamless switching and the Find My network and all of that. And in terms of fit, they are slightly better than all of these.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah, I would. If somebody asked me about my pick, I would definitely choose the Huawei FreeBuds 6, simply because it has multi-point. But again, that's contingent on what kind of devices you use. I use Android, iPhone, Mac, so I would like to have a thing with the device list in the app as well that you can switch, which this does have. So yeah, for me it's the Huawei, and one of the important reasons is I have a lot of audio products. So this is never going to be my critical listening product. This is going to be my podcast.
Oh, yeah.
Going out for a walk, that kind of audio product, sitting at home, just watching, I don't know, some stupid YouTube video in one ear while I'm cooking or whatever.
Yeah.
It's that kind of product. So for critical listening, I'm not sure you would be picking any of these. If I did have to, it would be the Samsung, but right now my pick is Huawei.
all right. Big thanks to all of our patrons and YouTube members, especially these on the tested tier. And
Special thanks to our Fuckman tier members. Paula, Raz Panda, and Rachel, thank you so much for contributing. If you want to be a member or patron, check out the links below.
You've been giving your ear holes a break.
And we've been FreeBuds. DHRME.
Do we?